Laurel Hill Cemetery is home to well over 200 years of Deerfield and POCUMTUCK Valley cultural, religious, and community history. Since the cemetery's opening in 1800, it has become the final resting place for generations of impactful families that influenced the growth and development of Deerfield and its surrounding area. My connection with this cemetery and the Old Deerfield Cemetery Association is that my mother was 8th generation of the Childs family here in Deerfield. So in fact, 7 generations of her family are buried here, including my parents. Starting in 2014, our family started investing in conservation work here on the Childs gravestones and monuments. And we repaired, stabilized, and cleaned, I think, over 150 Childs monuments and gravestones. This earlier conservation work paved the way for a major preservation project during the summer of 2020, spearheaded by the Old Deerfield Cemetery Association. Over 400 gravestones and monuments were re-erected, repaired, stabilized, and cleaned. The 2020 project cost was over $100,000, $47,500 of which was covered by the Community Preservation Act funds contributed by Town of Deerfield taxpayers over the years, while over 50% of funding was graciously provided by private organizations and individuals. The Old Deerfield Cemetery Association took the lead on private funding, but other organizations and individuals made substantial contributions. Private donors to which gratitude is owed include the POCUMTUCK Valley Memorial Association, Deerfield Academy, Eaglebrook School, Historic Deerfield, Atlas Preservation, a private company that supplies gravestone conservation materials and tools, and some 40 private individuals and 2 family associations. Laurel Hill Cemetery is a who's who cemetery. Notable individuals who rest here are Nathaniel Hitchcock and George Sheldon, 2 of the founders of the POCUMTUCK Valley Memorial Association, an impactful historical society that just celebrated its 150th anniversary. Howard Gibbs, the founder of Eaglebrook School. Frank L. Boyden, the longtime and renowned headmaster at Deerfield Academy. Internationally known painters such as George Fuller, Augustus Vincent Tack, and Stephen Maniatti. Laurel Hill Cemetery is also the final resting place to many veterans who served in America's armed services and fought in the many conflicts since America's founding to defend our freedoms and liberties. The monuments and gravestones convey important historical information, beautiful epitaph messages, and impressive artwork reflective of the times. Sadly, over time, through exposure to rough New England weather, acid rain, microbes, moss, and New England freeze-thaw cycles, many of these stones have suffered substantial damage and degradation, hiding their beauty and threatening their longevity. Through the centuries, many have fallen over or suffered breaks and cracks. Others have deteriorated from weather, mold, and other microbes, making the original epitaphs and other carvings difficult, if not impossible, to see. To address these multiple conservation issues at Laurel Hill Cemetery, the Old Deerfield Cemetery Association contracted with Gravestone Services of New England, based out of New Hampshire, to conserve and preserve monuments and gravestones deemed most vulnerable. Gravestone Services of New England, founded and run by Mr. Kai Nowans, who has over 15 years' experience in professionally conserving gravestones around New England, executed the original 2014 Child's Gravestone Conservation Project and has previously been contracted to perform conservation work at other Deerfield cemeteries. In order to re-erect, repair, straighten, and stabilize large, heavy monuments and gravestones, Gravestone Services of New England has made major financial investments in capital equipment like Unix Spider Crane, a highly sophisticated piece of machinery that can lift 3-ton monuments over 25 feet into the air, and which requires a special 1B telescopic crane operator's license, recertification every 2 years, and continuing education. The company also employs latest technology products, including specialty mortars, adhesives, and cleaning solutions to repair, clean, and conserve historical monuments and gravestones. Such preservation work can unveil epitaphs and impressive artwork that have not been seen in over 50 years.
This is an obelisk for the Wright family, and again it has to be leveled first. But here we can actually see how they used to be set. It was just some lime mortar. We have some dust left over. There is one big corner missing. I'm hoping to find it once I start picking the other pieces up. And I could adhere that to the monument. And even though it looks in shambles, it can be put together. I would have to take this piece off. Actually, I have to disassemble the entire monument first, straighten it out, and set it back so that all the corners line up, and reassemble it.
Going forward, conservation work in the cemetery will continue in the spring and summer of 2021. After the initial repair and cleaning work, the Old Deerfield Cemetery Association will leverage the hard work of trained volunteers for maintenance, cleanings, and inspections of the monuments and gravestones. Simply put, Laurel Hill Cemetery is a critical link to Deerfield's 350-year-old history and will provide learning, interpretation, and reflection opportunities to future generations of local residents and visitors from around the United States and the world.